Today, we're checking in to the Brix Boutique Hotel in Frankfurt. In this episode, we take you behind the scenes of our LEGO Serious Play trainings. Imagine stepping into the kitchen of a master chef. You'd see how the ingredients come together, how the timing matters, and why the process is just as important as the outcome. We'll explore the rhythm between experience and explanation, how staying in flow supports deeper learning, and why designing your first workshop is a milestone, not a masterpiece. And yes, we packed the mics, hit the road, and recorded this episode with our mobile studio. You'll find the video on YouTube and Spotify, of course. So take a breath, open your mind, and welcome to the Brix Boutique Hotel.
Hey, Matthias.
Michel.
Hey. So, another episode of our podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the following question. How can participants maximize their learnings from a training? What do you think?
Well, let's first explain the setting,
Okay.
how it is.
Yeah.
Because in our trainings,
Mhm.
we have two tables.
Yep.
Right.
Correct.
So we have the experience table, where we play, where we do two workshops.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have the explanation table,
All right. What happens there?
where we explain the phases, right? So we're always jumping back or walking back and forth. It's rather not jumping.
Oh.
Actually, this would be funny. Walking back and forth.
Yeah.
So we start and play a part of the workshop
Okay. Yeah.
at the experience table. And then we walk over to the explanation table.
Right.
And then you explain. So hopefully I will explain this within the
you
next
will.
20
I'm
years or something
quite
like that.
I'm quite sure. That's
No, so the trainer explains
Yep.
what happened, right? Which application technique was used? Were there any group dynamics or the theory behind or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it was, right?
Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah.
So this are the two tables. So this is the setting.
Right. So and to make that clear, so they're first gonna experience things,
Yes,
and then they're gonna talk about it, not the other way around.
it's not the other way around because this already helps in the learning, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise you talk about theory and this is what will happen. And in fact, people would lean back, right?
Exactly.
But if you do the other way around,
Yeah.
they experience what happens. They experience how does it feel, the application technique and all these things. And then you can explain. So people, they pay a lot. It's a lot easier to pay attention, especially, I mean, it's a 4 days training and
Yeah.
it's roughly 40 hours.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that they get most out of it, right? So
But
this is already one thing.
Yeah. So it is indeed one of the learning experiences that you first do it,
Yes.
and from the experience, you better understand the theory behind it, but you
Yep.
can also ask questions out of your own experience about, what happens with me, what happens with other people. So you prepare yourself much better for your own facilitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anything else you can come up with?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the podcast. Right. Okay. Unexpected answer. Right.
You know me. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's maybe stay with the questions.
The questions.
So people are asking questions. Well, people can always ask questions.
Yeah.
But we have two different types of questions that people typically ask during the training.
Okay.
Not talking about the breaks.
No.
There are questions where they want to know about the method.
Yeah.
And there are questions. I didn't get what you want me to build. I didn't understand what you're looking for, what we are looking for, what we are building for, maybe. So there are these two types of questions.
Okay.
Now,
what do you do with the second type when they mention, what you said? I don't know what you're aiming for. I don't know what to build. How does that help them with their learning when they are kind of blocked or stuck?
Well, that you maybe have to reframe.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to give another example, or you have to talk about to talk with them. Maybe you need to understand
Yeah.
what they didn't understand.
Yeah.
Various things, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
these are typically the questions that participants would ask in a workshop as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. What
So
do you
these,
do?
hmm?
So the question is indeed then, what do you do as a facilitator? When you have an incident like that in your own workshops after the training, what do you do when people are stuck? They can't move, they can't build. So if I may, that's because that is, of course, a thing that can happen. Is so we go into the experience as well. So now, what is it you can do in that kind of situations to help them through that process, and make sure that they start building. So what we do, we give them examples. We show them also examples during the training in the specific situation. What do you do when people get stuck? We talk
Just,
about flow.
just a second.
Yeah.
You said we show them examples.
Yeah.
But not at the experience table.
No. At the explanation table.
Okay.
I make that clear.
Just,
yeah.
absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So we talk about flow. That's the theory behind it. What happens, when you're out of flow, when you get stuck. So we show it literally theoretically what happens
At the explanation table.
at the explanation table.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, no.
Because it's
Help me out.
difficult. I mean, for us, it's normal,
Yeah,
right? But
you're right.
if you just listen to it, it might be difficult to follow us.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. So one explanation is talking about it, explaining things. Like I said, explaining it theoretically, what happens with people, but also give them the tools, literally hands-on, what could be kind of a solution in the situation where you can help people out. So
Yeah.
literally practice that as well. So that was one, and then you had about questions.
But the other questions that you ask about the method.
Yeah.
And this is something which pops up as well when they are at the experience table. Can happen, right? It happens a lot.
Yeah.
So people say, yeah, but for this we have the post-its, right? So they take a little note and then they take the post-it over.
Okay. So that's indeed what, as a trainer we do. That's what you see me doing.
Yeah.
Is, when we are at the experience table, so the other table where people build, where they experience what the method is about, we don't go into these kind of questions, but we ask them to write it down so they don't forget it and take them to the explanation table where we talk about it.
Yes, I mean, we could answer these questions as well at the experience table.
Yeah.
The only thing is it would ruin completely their flow during the workshop. And this is what they need to experience.
Absolutely no go for me. Yeah. Absolutely no go. We're not going to do that. Write it down.
Yeah.
Stay in flow. Get the deeper insights on the questions. Experience what it is to be a participant. Because one of the other learning experiences where we can talk about is that after your training, our 4 days, quite intense, you will be a facilitator. And one of the things I experienced myself as a facilitator is that you don't do the building yourself that much anymore.
Yes. It's a pity.
It is. It is. It is. And literally the first time I experienced that or realized that, I said to myself at least a couple of times a year or every possibility, be a participant again. It was not so long ago that I was a participant in one of your meetup workshops. It's mentioned, I have to say this right now because we also do the trainings in German. And it's called a Schnupper workshop.
Yeah.
Lovely word. Lovely word. So anyway, I was a participant there, and it's such great. But anyway, so in the training, they are participants, so we don't break the flow by answering questions on the experience table.
So it's really to help them to focus.
Yes.
Right? Stay focused on the experience table. Stay focused on the explanation table. Yeah. Which as well brings me to the again to the post-its, because sometimes, and it happens sometimes, not that often, but sometimes it does, that we have participants and they try to transcribe whatever you're saying, literally every word.
Yeah. Also that's one of the things. I mean, I think it's quite impossible because although I have a colleague who talks even faster,
Per,
yeah, but it is impossible. But one of the other things is also in the learning is start developing your own profile as a facilitator. There are, of course, a couple of things that you have to pay attention to as a facilitator. One of the most important things is that you are neutral. You have, of course, you have an opinion, yeah, but you're not going to share the opinion with your participants. You are there to guide them through the process, to support them through the process, to ask them the right questions so they find out themselves. Um, so don't write down what I'm saying. You know, if necessary, I can repeat that question on the explanation table because I know exactly what I ask you. You know, that's part of my job as a trainer. So if you want to have the question, I can do it on the other table. But the other thing is don't try to, I kind of imitate what I say. Certainly don't try to do what I did.
Yeah.
Develop your own profile. And that's also part of the 4 days experience that you start developing your profile.
Absolutely. And if someone would copy you, I mean, they would have to speak with a Dutch accent.
That's one of the things. And generally, I joke about it in terms of, but I mean it, one of me is more than enough in the world. Don't do that. Don't go that way. Don't respond to that. I know what you want to say. Don't do that. No, develop your own profile.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't try to transcribe. I mean, you know exactly what you said, right?
Yeah.
So people can ask you afterwards if there was something that they didn't understand or they would want to know more about it. But say good, okay, not transcribing, no transcription, because this as well, it distracts you.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting out of flow and you're focusing on it. It's rather important to really focus.
Focus.
No, again, focus on the workshop. Good. What else do we have?
Now, adding on that one is that we give the participants the possibility also to take over a couple of moments in the training where they facilitate themselves, the group. Yeah, so they get their own first learning experiences of doing things, exercises themselves. And another thing, of course, in the development of the experiences is designing your own workshops during the training.
Oh, yes.
And not only designing, but also getting feedback on your design. Yeah, so you have the possibility, if necessary, if possible, to also improve your workshop.
Yeah.
A very big part of our job as facilitators is that we design the workshops for our clients. Lego Serious Play is not a copy-paste thing where you do an exercise and you can, copy-paste it everywhere. You have to craft things. You have to look into, what is really the need of the client. That's what we're going to dive into during the training. You design a workshop literally for your clients, yeah, or for your students or your colleagues, whatever the topic is. And we give you feedback. That's quite a part of the training.
Yeah.
We put into the training and put energy into it.
I just had a look at mine.
Yeah.
At my training, at my first design.
Okay.
I thought it was quite good.
All right.
Now looking back, I think it wasn't bad.
All right.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, come on.
No, but I mean, it was the first. It's the first workshop design that you're doing. It's the most difficult one, I would say.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So, focusing on the 2 tables.
Yeah.
Doing this, doing that, asking questions, because questions are important for you as a trainer as well.
Absolutely.
So that you can know where they are at,
yeah,
what they got, what
yeah,
they maybe didn't get, where you have to add a few more sentences or another example or whatever it is. What else do we have?
Well, I wanted to add, also in answering the questions, is that as a trainer, we and my colleagues as a trainer, we come out of practice ourselves. So with us, you never become a trainer if you don't have a lot of experience as a facilitator. You know that you're on the track of becoming a trainer. And one of the first thing is, do you have the experience on different topics, on different designs, on different workshops, in length, in group size, etc., etc., so that during your training, when you're talking with your colleagues of the future, is that you can give them the feedback out of your own experience, out of your own practice, that you don't tell them that everything will become okay, and and you will find it out and stuff like. No,
Everything's gonna be fine.
no,
No worries at all.
yeah, yeah. And I think if I may say this, I mean this is not my kind of my normal language, but shit happens. Also,
Ooh.
yeah. Sorry for that.
I'm
Sorry.
really happy that it didn't say fuck.
No, no, no. That's enough. The wording. But it happens also, in your own workshops, certainly at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about our own experience, and also, what we did in that situation, and if it worked out, yes or no, so that your participants have the feeling, you know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
That's as simple as that. You know what you're talking
I
about.
think you mentioned you use the analogy that you are like a driving instructor to help them to be able to drive their Lego Series play car
Yeah,
in whatever city it is,
yeah.
right? Whether it's Oz, the city where you from, which is not that big,
No.
or whether it's Sao Paulo, Paris, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay. So what else about the learning outcome for your participants? We had the questions, we had the post-its, we had the design, we have talking out of your own practice, sharing that one. What we could mention, of course, because you're there in a group. Yeah? Our group size is really a maximum of 12.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I personally already feel like, well, if we have 10, that would also be okay with me.
Yeah.
Um, and that means also you can learn from others. So we have generally, certainly in our open trainings where people can subscribe, people from different areas, different industries, different
Which is
backgrounds,
great.
which is great.
Because then you have really this learning from the others
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And so we have coaches, we have consultants, we have teachers in the group, we have the mixture out of private business, about NGOs,
Communication scientists.
Yep. Yeah. And that mixture and the questions and the different backgrounds, that is just great for the learning experience. And what I see quite a lot out of the groups is that they kind of stay in touch. They create I don't know, a contact group, a WhatsApp group, or whatever group, they stay in touch. They help each other out.
Yeah.
They, in bigger workshops, they call each other. It's literally, can we do this together? They create designs together. But I always offer them, of course, if they can't help each other out for whatever reason or they're stuck, hey, after the training, you can still reach out to me as well. It's not like I'm 4 days there and then I don't know you anymore. No, it is literally, call me, we can schedule something, or I can give you feedback on the design, help you out, make sure that you can move on as a facilitator. So the learning doesn't stop after the 4 days, also not with your colleagues,
Yeah.
participants, also not with me as trainer.
And I can confirm that because you even respond to my questions and my emails. So, yeah.
Yeah, and imagine you're even the last one I think of.
Right. Maybe a last thing.
Yeah.
One of the most important things, I think. Get your sleep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you mentioned that quite a lot. And
Yes.
you're completely right. You're completely right. Certainly in those 4 days, I mean, generally that's a good thing. Yeah, but certainly in the 4 days, they are intense.
Yeah.
Your brain is doing overtime of all the impressions, of all the experiences, and you need your sleep. And I sometimes warn them or ask them the next day, it's like, how was your night? Did you dream about Lego bricks instead of the sheeps? And
Yeah.
people say, yeah. There were no sheeps jumping around. There were actually Lego bricks.
Were they walking Lego bricks? Or?
Yeah, flying Lego bricks. I don't know what
Lego
happened.
bricks.
But it is the signal that indeed there is learning going on
Yeah.
there, in your brain.
I mean, it's not only that you learn the method. It's you are on as a participant in a Lego Series play training. At least in our Lego Series play trainings, you are on a personal journey.
Absolutely.
Right? We see how, of course, we see how they grow together.
Yeah.
From a group in the beginning to a team.
But.
And as well.
And.
The individuals.
Yes. Yeah.
That I mean, they're building 4 days and they draw so many new thoughts, perspectives, ideas, and knowledge out of it that they didn't know about themselves. And this is really fantastic.
It is. So catch your sleep. And after the 4 days, I know that a lot of people say it kept me going for another couple of days.
Yeah.
So it's
Same
a
here.
signal where you try to, or you did capture a lot. There's a lot of learning going on. Your brain and even your body needs to digest it. And it's, like you said, to be a finishing, it's also a personal learning journey.
Yeah.
It is. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yes. I think that's why we still do it.
Exactly.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. In terms of, I think I already mentioned a couple of things,
So
You
focus on the tables.
Yep.
Fiddle. Well, we didn't mention it. At explanation table, we always have bricks. So fiddle with the bricks.
Yeah.
Just
Play with
to,
them.
to get more focused.
Yeah.
Ask all the questions that
All
you
the
have,
questions, please do.
and your trainer will tell you if it's an
Yeah.
inappropriate question for that table or for the other one.
The other one. Yeah. The trainer talks about his own experiences, helps you, gives you the opportunity to facilitate things yourself.
Yeah.
The design of a workshop, asking the right questions to your client, put them into a design, an effective design for your workshop, for your own clients. Get your sleep.
Yep.
Exchange with the other participants during the training, after the training.
And try not to party in the evening.
No.
I mean, a glass of champagne is always okay.
Yeah, but for you it is. No, I think that's the wrap up.
Thank you. All right. So I think we should go back to the reception.
Indeed. Yeah.
Let's do that.
And then on to the next episode.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for checking in at the Brix Boutique Hotel today. If you enjoyed the podcast and want to hear more, subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to explore more of what the Brix Boutique Hotel has to offer, visit our website brixboutiquehotel.com. And remember, there is always a room for you at the Brix Boutique Hotel.